The fear of losing control is one of the deepest and most powerful emotions that shapes human behavior. It lurks beneath the surface of everyday life, guiding decisions, creating anxieties, and pushing us to cling tightly to routines, roles, and expectations. This fear can manifest in relationships, careers, health, and even in how we perceive our own identity. To understand why this fear is so potent, we must dive into the psychology of control, how humans create illusions of certainty, and why letting go feels like stepping into an abyss. From the earliest stages of life, humans crave stability and predictability. A child clings to the routines of their parents, knowing that consistency ensures safety. As adults, this craving transforms into a desire to shape outcomes, avoid risks, and protect one's sense of autonomy. When control slips away, whether through illness, rejection, financial loss, or unexpected change, panic arises. It is not just the event itself that hurts, but the terrifying realization that reality does not bend to our will. In this recognition lies the root of suffering. The fear of losing control is not merely psychological, it is biological. The brain is wired to anticipate threats and maintain order. The amygdala, responsible for processing fear, becomes overactive when uncertainty appears. The body floods with stress hormones, creating tension, restlessness, and hypervigilance. This is why people often cling to routines, compulsions, or even rigid belief systems. They are defense mechanisms against chaos. The mind convinces itself that if everything is in order, then catastrophe can be prevented. Yet deep down, we know that no amount of control can stop the unexpected. In relationships, the fear of losing control can appear as jealousy, manipulation, or emotional dependence. People grasp at their partners, trying to dictate how they should act, think, or feel, because they fear abandonment or betrayal. Ironically, the tighter one clings, the more suffocating the bond becomes, often driving the other away. True connection requires trust, but trust demands vulnerability, and vulnerability requires surrendering control. It is here that many people stumble, caught between their longing for love and their terror of uncertainty. In careers, the same pattern emerges. Workers cling to positions they hate out of fear of instability. Leaders attempt to micromanage teams because they cannot accept that outcomes may differ from their vision. Entrepreneurs wrestle with the anxiety of unpredictable markets. The constant drive to manage every variable leads to exhaustion and burnout. The irony is that creativity, innovation, and growth all require letting go of rigid control. Only when one surrenders to uncertainty does new possibility emerge. Health and the body are perhaps the most direct arenas where the fear of losing control strikes hardest. Illness, aging, and mortality remind us that the body is never fully under our command. People obsess over diets, routines, and fitness regimens, trying desperately to escape the truth that no matter how disciplined one is, time marches forward. When disease strikes, it shatters the illusion of invincibility. The body becomes a battleground where the fear of losing control is unavoidable. Yet within this confrontation lies an opportunity, the acceptance of impermanence, the recognition that life's value comes not from control but from presence. Philosophers and spiritual traditions have long wrestled with this tension between control and surrender. Stoicism teaches that we must distinguish between what is in our control and what is not, focusing only on our actions and attitudes while releasing the rest. Buddhism reveals that attachment is the root of suffering, and that clinging to control only deepens pain. Even modern psychology acknowledges that resilience comes not from eliminating uncertainty, but from embracing it. The paradox is that true strength lies not in controlling everything, but in finding peace amid unpredictability. Yet the modern world amplifies the illusion of control. Technology, with its constant flow of data, updates, and tools, convinces us that we can track, predict, and manipulate life itself. Social media gives the impression that identity can be curated, reputation can be shaped, and meaning can be manufactured, but beneath the surface, the same fragility remains. No amount of control over appearances can stop heartbreak, loss, or mortality. This is why so many feel hollow despite having more control than any generation before. The control is only surface deep, and reality always slips through the cracks. The fear of losing control also fuels conflict on a societal scale. Nations cling to power, enforcing borders and dominance, terrified of being overtaken. Governments seek to regulate behavior, often under the guise of security, while individuals resist, fearing oppression. The balance between order and freedom is fragile because both are rooted in the same fear. The fear of chaos, the fear of losing control. History shows that whenever control is pushed too far, rebellion arises. And when rebellion erupts, chaos returns, creating the very instability that control sought to prevent. At the individual level, control can become addictive. People develop rituals, superstitions, and routines not because they are rational, but because they give a temporary sense of mastery over the uncontrollable. Athletes may wear the same lucky socks. Students may arrange their desks a certain way before exams. Professionals may obsess over details long past the point of necessity. These behaviors mask anxiety, providing fleeting comfort in a world that refuses to be tamed. The tragedy is that these illusions, while soothing, never last. To move beyond the fear of losing control, one must face the uncomfortable truth. Control is always partial, never absolute. Life is filled with forces beyond comprehension: time, chance, nature, and the choices of others. Trying to dominate them all only leads to frustration. Instead, wisdom lies in discerning the boundary between effort and acceptance. When a person learns to act with intention yet release the outcome, they discover a kind of freedom that no illusion of control can offer. This freedom is not passive. It does not mean abandoning responsibility or becoming indifferent. Rather, it means engaging fully with life, while understanding that uncertainty is woven into its fabric. It means caring deeply about people, work, and dreams, while recognizing that outcomes cannot be guaranteed. It means finding courage not in control, but in resilience. Those who embrace this perspective often experience greater peace, because they are no longer fighting a battle they cannot win. The fear of losing control will never disappear entirely, because it is part of being human. But it can be transformed. Instead of letting fear dictate choices, it can serve as a reminder of life's fragility, pushing us to cherish each moment. Instead of clinging, we can release. Instead of resisting change, we can adapt. In this transformation, fear becomes a teacher, guiding us toward acceptance and presence. Imagine the difference this shift could make in daily life. A parent, instead of obsessing over every decision their child makes, learns to guide with love and let go with trust. An employee, instead of clinging to a toxic job out of fear, takes the risk of pursuing something meaningful. A person facing illness, instead of resenting their body, embraces each day as a gift, finding joy in small moments. In each case, surrendering control opens the door to deeper connection, courage, and freedom. The irony of life is that the more we release control, the more we discover the very things we were chasing all along: peace, meaning, and love. Control promises these outcomes but never delivers. Surrender, on the other hand, feels terrifying at first, yet it creates space for authenticity. When we stop trying to force life into a mold, we discover the beauty of what it truly is. The fear of losing control transforms into the joy of letting go. So ask yourself, where in your life are you clinging too tightly? What would happen if you allowed yourself to release, even a little? What peace might you discover in the freedom of not knowing? The answers to these questions may be the first step toward liberation from fear. And as you reflect, remember this: life is not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be lived. Control is not the key to happiness, presence is. The future will always remain uncertain, but uncertainty is not an enemy, it is the space where possibility lives. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for sharing this journey of reflection. Your presence means more than you know. If this message resonated with you, consider supporting the channel, sharing your thoughts, and joining this growing community of seekers. Together we can continue exploring the questions that matter most. Until next time, take care of yourself, let go of what you cannot hold, and step bravely into the unknown.